I'm back up at my mother-in-law's house this weekend. I used to do these stories. I'd write them all out, and then I'd read them. And then I got to where I would just, heck with it. It was a lot of work. I just start doing them however they come out. Anyway, there was one I wrote a long time ago. And I might have mentioned it that one of my grandsons took it to a meeting and they read it out loud before the meeting. I have it here. I'll read it to you. And Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, when they ate of the tree of, the knowledge of good and evil, the spirit left it, you'll certainly die. Well, they did die spiritually. The Spirit of God came out of them. And you've had medicines that if you've had bad reactions to or taken drugs or something that what goes up must come down, and, for, like with speed, for 4 hours of being up, you have to pay, like 6 times as much. 6 times 4 is 24, so 4 hours up and then 24 hours of bad downtime. So anyway, I wrote this thing thinking about what it would have been like. Well, I'll just read it. Filling the hole. Thou shalt surely die, and did they ever. I'm going to speak to those who have experienced coming down from a high. What goes up must come down. You know the feeling, and how different substances have different unpleasant downs, so there's no need for further comment. However, you may not know or when all this began. Light's not very good here. So let the truth be known from my point of view. Adam was created in the image of God. Adam was perfect, but I'm not, so I'll back up and try to watch and explain how it must have taken place in the Garden of Eden. Everything I see is fantastically beautiful. Just looking at it, I can smell it. A pomegranate bursts open at a far distance. Hearing it causes me to taste it. I see something I want. I reach out and grasp a grape, feel it, hear it tear from the cluster, smell it, taste it even before I eat it. My 5 senses are my constant companion. As I'm joined with my Creator during our daily walks, the knowledge of who He is and what He is and why I am who I am fills me with more and more and more. Although I'm in a constant state of super enthusiasm, I'm aware of it because the opposite is in the forbidden tree. He's really not. Anyway. Eve is strolling along near the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The evil one uses the trick on her that he still uses today on everyone. It looks good, doesn't it? Yes, but God said not to eat it or I'll die. You won't die. You'll be like God, knowing good and evil. I'm right by her when she pulls off the forbidden fruit, bites it, sticks it in my face for a bite. Bam! The greatest come down ever experienced by mankind. Thou shalt surely die. The Spirit of the living God removed Himself from within me and Eve. We can't even begin to fathom what that felt like. We have taken some weird stuff in our days that took days of horrible feelings to wear off. Why did we take that stuff? Because the void where God was is craving to be filled. We're 6,000 or 7,000 years from when the void began, and we could fill libraries of ways we humans have been trying to fill the hole. God would have that no one perish, but that everyone comes to the knowledge of the saving grace of Jesus Christ. That's the one and only Jesus Christ that can fill the void. It's when the Spirit gets you to admit you are a sinner in need of forgiveness and moves you to ask Jesus to forgive you and come into your heart, that He does indeed restore the Spirit of the living God in its rightful place inside you. You know, and when I was doing the story of the very first one about this really isn't finished yet, the circle. Every time I'd write it out, and when I'd finish it, 3 or 4, there's improve it, take this out, throw this away. Like at the end of every draft, there was about 4 of them. I would have this sense of something. So when I finally finished, the sense of it was, and I called it the saving the family tree. A person's saved and he wants his wife to go to heaven with him, wants his children. So he's got this idea where he's going to make sure that everyone in his family is going to go to heaven with him. And so when somebody, each daughter's going to be there, and then they get married, and the in-laws get them to become Christ-like, to become Christians, and then the grandchildren, and just get the whole family tree to be going to heaven. And then every time a new branch comes in by way of an in-law or a friend or something, the tree gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then this idea reaches the pulpit, and it reaches the neighborhoods, and just everybody's wanting all their friends and all want their family first, get that family tree on their way to heaven. And it almost sounds like reading the book of Acts must have been something like that. Just that everybody, the Savior's here, they're filled with the Spirit, and they're going out and getting their sons and daughters and nephews and cousins and aunts and uncles and neighbors. It just spread like wildfire. And it just took. It hasn't gone out yet. Jesus started the fire within people that's still burning today. And so I was thinking, if every person would make it a point of making sure that everyone in their family knows that Christ died, was risen, He ascended unto the heaven, He's sitting at the right hand of God, knowing that you're a sinner, get them to know they're a sinner, and commit to Christ, and ask Him into their heart. Make sure every family member does this. If that went to every family, it would spread and spread and spread. And I think, what a great idea that would be to maybe even have a church called the Family Tree, Church of the Family Tree. Anyway, just some thoughts.